Hello my beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Butterfly here, and I am back today with a sit down video, which is honestly my favorite part of actually even doing this YouTube thing. Like, I'm not big on vlogging. I just do it because a lot of you guys request for it, but I really like doing this kinds of videos. So anyways, for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. I hope you like it here. I hope you stay. I hope you like. I hope you subscribe. I hope you become part of the Butterfly family. And for all those of you who are returning, thank you guys so much for your continuous support. So the last time I did a sit down video, I actually can't remember. I think it was probably in January, when I was just celebrating the life of my daughter. I think every other video after that was probably a vlog, yeah. But anyways, so I'm in this new season. I'm trying to find a way to sit down comfortably and do this video. But anyway, so I'm in this new season of my life. For those of you who know or do not know, I have moved to South Africa. I am here for my studies. I'm here specializing. It's like many years that I'm gonna be here, but it's a new season for me, man. It's a new season that I'm trying to navigate, as you probably see from the channel of this video. I mean, the title of this video. I'm just really trying to navigate this new season, and I just wanted to share with you guys a few of what I've learned in this new season. There's probably going to be a lot of those lessons to come, but today I just wanted to focus on 4 F's, which is my lessons, or at least navigating this new season of my life regarding faith, regarding finances, regarding friendships, regarding family. And it's a new territory for me, to be quite honest. I didn't think, okay, this is gonna sound weird. So I left my family at home. I left my husband, I left my son, I left my sisters, my siblings, my parents, my friends at home. But there's a lot of like good in me just being on this side, to be quite honest. And it's a lot of self-discovery. It's a lot of surrender, if I have to be honest. So the first part of this journey that I wanted to talk about is just about finding me. So I haven't lived alone ever. Like, when I was in varsity, I was in Ukraine, right? So I did my 6 years training there, and funny enough, I was teasing my husband the other day that, like, distance for us is not a new thing. Like, you were with me when I was all across the oceans on the other side, and now I'm on this side of the border. And like, I mean, just embrace it. I mean, maybe it's part of our journey. Hopefully it's the last time that we have to be separated like this, but yeah, on this side of heaven at least. But anyway, so I've never really been living alone. When I was in Ukraine, I stayed in the hostel for like the first 3 years, but in the hostel as in like, we have like mini apartments that you are either in a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom or in a single room. My first year I was in a 3-bedroom because 1, I think we're not allowed to have single rooms, and 2, I just thought that it was too expensive. But from my second year, my third year, I was in a single room, but like it's kind of like a flat where there's one door to the flat, and then there's 2 bedrooms and a bathroom and a toilet. So 1 bedroom has like 2 people, 1 bedroom has 1 person, which was now me, and then my other 2 Nigerian friends. And then I moved out and I went to rent with my one cousin, Elena. She's also Elena. So we rented for the next 3 years of my stay there. And obviously you get pocket money from home, and so it was never really like depending on myself. Like, it's fully furnished apartments, you know, all those kinds of things. So me moving here, it was a whole different territory, because I've never, as a working person, rented or lived alone. Like, I was telling my friends this weekend, like, I never had an in-between. I came straight from my parents' house into my husband's house. Like, I haven't experienced that side of adulthood that my other friends have experienced. So for me, when I'm saying like this whole season is like a season of me finding me and discovering a lot of things about me, it's really been interesting, so to say. Yeah. I even wrote down how I didn't like, so last year, in the process of like the grief and the loss and everything, I always had like everybody else around me, right? Everybody around me. So in as much as I was processing the grief and like mourning and things like that, sometimes I had a lot of distractions. Like I would be in my room, sometimes I'm like sad or I'm crying, and then next thing my son is opening the door and then I'm wiping my tears quickly, or my husband comes home, I don't want to show him that I was crying, because in as much as it's okay and he wouldn't mind, sometimes he comes like excited maybe from work, man, and I just don't want to, like, I just didn't really get time to say I was crying, and then I stopped crying on my own accord, for example, like because I finally felt better. It was always just everybody else around me, and so I'm at a place now when I'm also just processing the loss. I can't say better, but like processing it more, not experiencing it, but like, yeah, dealing with it more, if I should say. Yeah. And then also I'm a bubbly person. I love people. I love being around people. But in terms of how I recharge in solitude. Like if I do not get moments to myself, I feel overly stimulated. I feel exhausted. I feel like, I really just need a moment to myself for me to recharge and have my energy and everything. So being this side and having a lot of that time to myself, like, I love it. I really, really love it, because I get to have my own schedule. I get to decide when I'm cooking, if I'm not cooking. I get to be around, like, because my work environment, it's a lot of people, it's a lot of patients, it's a lot of colleagues. It's like, Joburg for me, it's just a lot. Like, I am not a big city girl. I really, if I could choose, I would live like in a small town with like a few people, where I get to go to like a big city, like maybe on a weekend, or like, here and there, not like an everyday thing. Like for me, this is like suffocating, So in as much as I've known that about myself, it's like, it's a whole new side that I'm discovering and I'm embracing, and I'm just like, I love it. I really, really love it. I miss my family, and when they were here, it was amazing. And I would still choose living with my family any given day. But I just mean, like, in terms of the city I'm in and all those things, like, yeah, I prefer solitude any day. And it's really been also a thing of like, one thing I wanted to share that I have been suffering from. I hope I brought my book. So one thing that I've been battling with in this new season of my life is what I discovered from my friend, is imposter syndrome. So I never really knew much about imposter syndrome, to be quite honest. And even me starting to have this conversation right now, I didn't do enough research on it, if I can say. But like, I was telling my friend once, like, okay, since I got here, there are times when I just feel like, Elena, what are you doing here? I feel like I'm like a joke, man. Like, I feel like I'm waiting for someone to just wake me up and be like, this is not real, girl. Like, go back home. What are you doing here? Can you not see? Like, and it's very, I can't put my kind of imposter syndrome, if there's even different types, into actual words, because I've never been someone that compares myself to people. Like, I'm just not that kind of person. That's why when it comes to things like peer pressure, whatever, you can miss me with that. Like, you can't make me do something just because everybody else is doing it or whatever. Like, that's why I'm also not even big on social media. Like, you won't find me scrolling down Instagram looking at what people are doing or whatever, because that's just not me, right? So I found myself at a point where I look at people around me and I'm like, I don't know enough. Like, people would be like, I would get a question. I remember one day I got a question and I froze, and then someone answered And it was exactly what I would have said if I'd opened my mouth. But it's just because I felt so inadequate in a way that I feel like even me being here is like, Oshongo. Like, I'm always like, is this real? And for those of you, like, say for people who like, I in medicine and have studied abroad, we have gone through this thing where there's this stigma of like foreign trained people, and not all of us have not done well previously in the past, but there's just that stigma that comes with like being foreign trained, right? So now I come to this place where no one even cares about where you trained or whatever. They really care about what you are bringing to the table now. However, I think I still have a little bit of that way. I feel like, am I really good enough? Am I like, is this specializing thing for me, or is it for a certain breed? Like, I don't know how to. I was even told, I had a session with my therapist about it, and I was telling her, like, sometimes I just feel like this is not real. Like, I'm waiting for a day where someone wakes me up and says, okay, time's up now, time for you to go home, trial run is over. Or I don't know how to really explain it, but like when I was explaining to my friend that what I was feeling at the time, I wish I'd made this video when I was really going through that, but like she was saying that this what they call imposter syndrome. And I was just like, yo, okay, kind of deep. But I did tell myself I was gonna do a bit more research about it after my therapy session, but I didn't. Like, typical me sometimes. I get homework from my therapist and I don't do it. I still see her on a, I don't still see her, because the last time I saw her, I think, was when I was dealing with this particular issue. After the loss of the baby, it was like a monthly thing. But then now it's on a need be basis. And I think it's been 2 months now since our last session. And I know she's probably going to ask me for one soon, like, what's happening. I love it because, especially as I navigate the different seasons of my life that I'm going through, she really helps me through that. And I'll get to the other seasons, to the other parts of the seasons later. Maybe I'll talk about all of them in this video. Otherwise, I'll probably just make another video another day talking about the other F's. I mentioned 4, ne? Yeah. So anyway, so part of our session, she said how to deal with what I'm going through right now is I can ask myself a few questions, right? Like, who am I right now? She is like, write down all the words that you can think about. And then I wrote, okay, I don't think that I'm good enough for the program, or I feel uncertain, I'm sensitive and I'm aware, I feel like a fraud. Not healthy, but not so bad. Oh, I think there's something she must have said. I feel inadequate was in capital letters. I feel not secure. I didn't write insecure because I was like, I'm generally a secure person in myself. Even growing up, I haven't struggled with like insecurities, so to say. But now I'm feeling insecurities in terms of my capabilities and my knowledge, and that is a good, she was like, that is a good thing. I think that's the part she said, it's not healthy but not so bad, is that it's a good thing in the sense if you are using it to drive you. Like, if I'm feeling that I don't know enough, I must then do something about it. Like, so what am I planning on doing about my inadequacy of like the areas that I feel like I don't know enough about, or something like that, right? So, and he said I must write down like all the other good things about me. I wrote like, I'm a good cook, I'm teachable, and I like that I wrote that I'm teachable, because the thing is with me also that I'll be the first person to acknowledge when I don't know something. However, I will also be the first person to really take in what I'm taught. Like, I'm not proud. I don't think I'm someone that you can easily correct me. I don't take, I can take offense in the sense of like, I may feel bad. Like, I'm a sensitive person, but I don't take offense in the sense that if you are giving me positive criticism, I will now think you are against me, which is something I think in my previous workplace, sometimes they didn't get that about me. Like, I will be touched, like I will feel bad in the sense that I will retract. I will probably go back in my shell. it does not necessarily mean that I think you think I think you're against me. It's kind of like I retract in my shell, and while in my shell I do process and I realize, okay, Lina, then you need to work on this. It doesn't become, I'm not taking it personally to think that you're against me. Yes, there are certain things that you know that this person is against you, but like in terms of like teaching and learning, I am really, 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 really willing to learn. That's why now where I feel like I'm deficit in a specific area, then I read more about it. I'm very forgiving, I'm focused, and I don't know what I wrote. Oh, my therapist is the one who said I'm entertaining. So I wrote that, but like I don't know if I'm entertaining. But anyways, I am very forgiving, and I think that is one of my best and worst character traits, because I'm very forgiving in the sense that sometimes I allow toxicity back in my life, if that's even a thing. Okay, well, right now in the space of my life I don't have that, but there are times people do things to me that someone else would be like, yo, I would have been done with that person. But for me, I give so many chances, and I guess it's a good thing, but then at the same time, people can easily take advantage of that. I think it just hurts when you are very forgiving and then you forgive someone like multiple times, but then the other person, like maybe you hurt them that one time and then you're like cancelled culture. But anyways, that's not about that. So then she said, I must be graceful with myself, give myself time to adapt, this was me writing to myself, I think, but based on what she was saying, find yourself in this ever-changing environment. And then she was talking about how she feels that even my name, Set Apart Butterfly, the set apart part, she's like, it just specifies how unique I am. And then the butterfly part, she says, you have to leave the cocoon. Like, obviously, the butterfly has to be in the cocoon and then comes out, or at least caterpillar, whatever, cocoon, and then get their wings and stuff like that. So she's just like, find your own wings in this season, and that's exactly what I am trying to do. Find my feet, ground myself. And then the last thing we concluded was, she said, all of me deserves to be exactly where I am right now. So anyways, yeah, that's concluding this part of my imposter syndrome thing. I feel like I focus so much on that in this video, but for whoever can relate to what I'm saying and you feel like you are in some sort of suffering from imposter syndrome, you need to remind yourself that you are exactly where you are because God meant for you to be there, and all of you, your whole being, deserves to be there. Sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit. We don't give ourselves enough grace. I didn't come here by chance, like I did do my part to get here. I did work hard to get here. It's not like it just fell on my lap, I did do my part as well, and then God did the rest. So I need to give myself that credit and remember that I too deserve to be here. Okay. So now moving on to the next part of the season I'm in. This one, okay, let me talk about faith part. Child, I am being stretched in terms of my faith, because yes, I love it, because I'm finding myself again at a place where I used to be at the beginning of my faith journey, but most of all at a place I used to be, especially when I was in Ukraine, and I had all this time to myself. Like, I could say I'm spending an hour in the Word, and I'm journaling, and I'm like coloring, and I'm like, I hope I'll find some pictures. Just put like pictures of how my journaling used to look like, you get. And I find myself now at that place again where I'll spend like an hour or 2 hours in the Word before I now get to my studies and things like that. And I love it because there's no other distractions. But however, I do feel like I'm at a place of total dependence on God. I am in this season where I call it the waiting season, even though I cannot pinpoint exactly what I'm waiting for. I just feel like, okay, let me get real. Let me get real. Say, for example, someone asked me recently, like, have you considered getting another child? Name. And if I have to be honest, I have to be real, I desire to have another child. I desire more children. I have always wanted more children. If it was up to me, I would, okay, maybe partly up to me, but not like up to me. Like, I mean, I would ideally want to have like 4 kids, right? However, I am in this season where I know that there is a lot more, I don't know, I can't say planning, but like, there's a lot more to consider than me just deciding I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and I'm gonna fall pregnant, and and all those things like that. There's like work and school and like schedule around that, and that's part of what I was struggling with also, because like I'm not in control. And there's a conversation I had with a friend recently where I was like, one of my themes for this year, or to go along with my theme for this year is overflow, but like one of my I can't say word, it's like things to tell myself rather, is that God knows my personality. So I was struggling with being specific with God. I like to be specific, right? I'm a planner. Naturally, I'm a planner. I want to be like, okay, at this time I want to do this, I want to be here. For my 31st birthday, I want to go to Disney World. I like even with my finances, I'm a planner, right? But I'm now at a season where I have to utterly and completely surrender my plans to God. I cannot just be like, next month I want to be pregnant, wada. Like, there's a lot that is not in my control that will determine when I can actually consider that next phase of my life. So my friend, I was talking to her and I was telling her, like, I struggle with being specific with God sometimes. Like, just telling him, like, Lord, I want, let me give an example that's material maybe. Like, I want a GLE Mercedes, what the latest, those kinds of things like that, right? And I'm just like, oh, hi, Elena, maybe just tell God you want a car, or like, God just give me a katukutukungo with 4 wheels type of thing. But that's such a weird example because I'm not really materialistic like that. But like, yeah, okay, let me just go with the example. So I was telling her, like, I struggle with being specific with God because sometimes I feel like maybe I'm like ordering God, like I'm like telling him what to do kind of thing, right? But then one day I was reading the book of Samuel, and I was reading the story of Hannah, and Hannah asking God to bless her with a son. And she was very specific in her prayer, and she even said, if you give me the son, like she was dedicating her son to God and all these things like that. First I would have looked at it like you're kind of like bargaining with God, in the sense that not like you're blackmailing God, but like, yeah, just give me the son, I'll do this, whatever, but maybe you're not really gonna do it. But obviously she was going to do it. But yeah, let me get to my point. So my point from reading that story was that being specific with God is nothing new. It's nothing new to tell God what your heart desires are. And then that goes back to my point of God knows my personality. God knows that I'm a planner. Like, I like some sort of illusion, as my friend said, of control. However, there is no one else that, okay, other people I'm sure, but like with everything that has happened in my life and the way it has gone or played out, you cannot tell me that I do not know that at the end of the day, God is the one in control. If it was up to me, I would have controlled the situation and I would have kept my daughter. But I know that God has the final say. So I know that he knows that this girl of mine, this daughter of mine, Elena, planning, here and there. However, she is still my child and I am going to do what's best for her. One of my favorite authors says, God loves us too much to give us exactly what we want in the exact time that we desire, that is outside of his, something along those lines. And so part of my season of surrender is knowing that yes, there is nothing wrong with being specific to God. I can tell God exactly what I want, how I want it. But the faith part of it comes in that I still know and I believe that ultimately God has the final say. Ultimately, he is going to give me what is best for me. And you can be a woman like Hannah, for example, who feels like, God, I want a son. God, please give me a son. Yes, you can pray to God that you want a son, right? But you still have to have enough faith in knowing that he will provide you the peace that will come with the fact with him giving you a daughter, and that your life is purposed for a daughter, for her whatever reason, whatever, but like he is the one who has the final say. So I was like, I felt so much better having that conversation with my friend, that I still have the faith in knowing that my God, who's almighty and all-knowing and sovereign, is having my life in his hand, that I can request. It's the same thing with my parents, you know. You can say, Mom, can you please give me $1,000? And Meme can be like, okay, I ain't got $1,000 for you, but I can give you 500, you know. But she might actually have 1.5 that she'll give me. I did make my request to my mom, but my mom saw it befitting to give me only 500 or to give me 1.5. And it could be that whatever reason my mom may have, whether she has or may not have, obviously with God to be a different thing, is that that's what is the best in that moment. So back to what I was saying, I'm in a season of waiting for like different things of my life, to be quite honest. Obviously, I'm waiting to finish this program and reunite with my family. I can't say there's nothing specifically to wait for, but I also have learned that while we are still on this side of heaven, we will always be in waiting. We are still waiting for the day the Messiah comes back. We are waiting for, because as we grow, you have different desires and different hopes and dreams. And obviously with that comes waiting, right? So the waiting never really ends, but it is what you're doing in the waiting. There is something I listened to one day when I was going to work. I can't remember from where, but I know they said that waiting is doing the most important, it's not doing nothing. It is doing the most important thing there is, because in the waiting, it's knowing and trusting that God, I can't remember. I don't want to misquote things, but anyways, I wish I had written it down. But anyways, it's fine. So while I'm in my waiting season, I'm trusting God. I'm trusting God to really just stretch me, mold me, shape me, remove areas of my life, like really remove areas of my life that needs to be changed. And in this solitude part of my stay here, I am getting to grow, man. I'm really getting to grow. I've been doing more prayer and fasting. I have done so many selfless prayers for other people, because now someone asked me to pray for them, and I actually really write it down in my prayer book, in my prayer journal, and I really pray. And I've seen God answer prayers for these people, and it has grown so much joy in me and in my faith as well, to know. I know James 5:16 says something, the power of the prayer of a righteous person and things like that. I'm not saying like I'm a righteous person. Well, I am in the eyes of God. But like I'm not saying there's a difference. I didn't say I'm not a sinful person. Don't quote me, please. But like it's so beautiful to be praying for someone else, knowing that you have nothing to gain from that prayer. And for me, that gives me so much joy, like so much joy. Anyways, so God knows my personality. Surrendering my plans to God, my hopes and my dreams and all these things to God has been a really stretching period for me. And also just knowing that I can tell my Father what I want, and knowing that he will give it to me in the right time and the right thing that is befitting to him. It has nothing to do with me not having faith or, wanting to have my way, because at the end of the day, I'll know that I'll have the peace. He will give me the peace in knowing that whatever he does give me, it is what is in my best interest, because he loves me. He's a loving Father. The third F, I think I can just finish all of them. The third F, God, is finances. Sensitive topic. What? Vati. Anyways, no finances, guys. I've been humbled, Shem. I've been humbled there by the finances department. Let me tell you a little background story of my life. So I was not a rich kid. I've never grown up as a rich kid, but my parents were, let me say, they're above average at the time that I was young. I'm saying this because out of all of my siblings, and this is something that, and this is what I'm saying, I'm enjoying this solitude time of being alone because I'm thinking a lot about my life, and I'm going to talk about finances. And I said finding me, faith, finances, friendship, always supposed to be family. The other F was supposed to be finding me. So finances, family, I'll talk about it all together. So my family, my siblings, because I have like an older sister, then I have a younger sister. The age gap at 5 between my sister and I, and like 15, 16, 17, 18, whatever, with all my other younger siblings, right? So I can say we were all born in different seasons of our parents' lives financially. My sister was born at a time when my parents were younger, didn't have much. My mom was at school, it's her life story. It's not for me to tell you her life story, but like she did grow up in a different era compared to me. So when I'm talking about now ages of like pre-teens, between 5 and 10, like I'm talking about that period, né? So when that was my time, my parents were working, my dad was doing well, guy in terms of business. So I was in the era of my parents where I could want a $400 doll in game and I would get it. I wouldn't be able to get a jumping castle like other kids, but I can at least get like almost everything that I wanted, so to say. Maybe I also didn't know things, so I didn't ask for expensive things, but like what I did know that was expensive then, I could get, right? Then my younger siblings, obviously they're a lot, so if I could get a streetwise, okay, we also grew up a lot, Tanga, like we were 4 raised in the house with my cousins, but it was still a different kind of generation, if I can say, right? So I was used to a life where my parents would give me what I wanted, and then I was then accustomed to a time where if my parents could not do it for me, my sister could do it for me, right? And then you come to a point where obviously I got married, and if like obviously can't do it, like my husband can do it for me, right? I was never a spoiled child like that. my mom and my sister will probably look at this video and disagree, but like I was not spoiled like that. Like but I can say that I really did not lack. Ne? I used to go to high school with 2 suitcases, one with clothes, one with food. That was me, right? Now I'm on this side of the country and I'm counting my coins. I'm not poor, like I'm not suffering like that. Like, let me not make it seem like I'm just out here kinashili. No. I still have that part, ne? But I was just trying to draw a picture that I'm at a place now of complete dependence on God, because I now know, like, I get a salary. If I finish my salary, I can't just now, I can't go to my husband and say, okay, babe, I need money. But I also have to remember that now we have 2 households. There's a household in Windhoek, there's a household here. He supports both households, yes. But now I cannot be that brat, ne, that can just be like, no, baby, I want McDonald's. You know, like if I don't have the money for McDonald's, kateleke, you know. I remember my mom teasing me the other day, but I used to be the girl that would go in the shop and swipe something if I wanted. I didn't know prices for anything. I just knew that, okay, this is how much I spend on food, for example, on our groceries. But I can never tell you, kucha, all gold tomato here, it's expensive. My son used to laugh at me because I go in a shop, I see a red sticker, and I'm like, let me buy, it's sale. And then she'll be like, no, Dina, Sometimes it's sale in that shop, but that price is actually more than in another shop. Like, it's maybe 40 bucks in all gold is maybe 40 bucks in Spa, and that is sale. But it's $28 in Checkers, and that is like cheap. I'm just making a price. I think it's around about there. But now I'm so proud of myself because one, this already started from last year when I was planning on coming to school. I got myself a financial planner, aka shout out to Amuhe Tangeni Mungaba. If you need one, go to her. She is like life-changing. And I always used to look at these things like, so financial planners are for people that have most like money, right? Like the moneyed people, the rich people, the people who have like $1 million in their account type of thing. But a financial planner really just helps you in, like, just as the word says, planning your finances. It's not even, they're not financial advisors, they're financial planners. They will advise you, but they're financial planners. So like we did like a whole spreadsheet of my finances. That's how I even realized like my car insurance or something has been going onto my car. What do they call that amount I know that you pay to the bank? What do you call, like, the total of what I owe the bank for my car, there's that amount, right? And then there's now my insurance amount per year, which they put every single year, they put it onto my principal amount for my car. I don't know if I'm using the right word. So now obviously the interest keeps going higher for my car because every year there's now that amount as an annum payment being put on my car. You know, instead of them just taking my insurance out of my bank account separately, they were used to add it to my car. I hope it makes sense. So I realized that obviously that is not working. Like she helped me realize that, which I didn't know. What else I know? You know, you go through like your insurances and your covers, and you realize that you can actually have like combined some of these things into one. You know, like so many things, man, that I had to realize that even if it was just saving me an extra 300 or whatever, it was making a difference. I had to plan for coming to school, like what needed to come out of my budget or didn't have to come out of my budget. And then I even realized that I didn't have to make a lot of changes in terms of what has to come out of my budget, because some of the things I was just squandering. You get, like, maybe if I was spending 4,000 on groceries, I could have been spending 3,000 on groceries. But now, because I didn't know prices, I only do my shopping at Metro anyways, to be quite honest. So maybe that isn't really a good example because the prices were decently priced. But it just means that there's a lot that I needed to learn, especially in that area as well. But yeah, so I became financially wiser. I started saving and investing more intentionally. I have a deeper reliance and dependence on God now for my finances, because I know how it feels like to not, I don't want to say to lack, because honestly, let me just say I'm doing better financial decisions now. Like, I go to the shop and I know that I plan on spending 1,000 and I will spend 1,000. I know how to wait now. Like, if it's not on my budget, I ask myself if I really need it. Is it really necessary? And most times I realize that it can either wait or I don't even get it eventually because I really didn't need it. You get? So I love this season. I was telling my friends and my sister, we have like a group the other day, and I'm telling them like, I love this season because I made a joke because I said, God wants me to get to heaven. You know, he said it's difficult. The Bible says it's easier for a camel, I think they said a camel, to get through an eye of a needle than a rich person to enter the kingdom of God. And I was like, I love knowing that my next bread is coming from God. In as much as, yes, I have my salary, there's things that I may need, extra things I may need, that it's probably gonna even take me longer to get because it's like 3 months of saving for it, and suddenly God just provides, you know. And I love this season so much because I'm like, God is preparing me for my rich life, and when I get to that rich life, I'm gonna be wiser. Pay fair price on the dishi. I'm not just going to buy this and this and that because I have an oversupply, but like I have the wisdom now. Whatever I do with it in the future, let's revisit this conversation another day. But like, no, I do trust that I'll go for it. But yeah, I'm wiser now. I've always been a very grateful person, but I remember for my birthday, someone sent me 150 for lunch. I was so happy, guys. Like I was so happy. Like, man, I was so happy. So I love the fact that I have an even bigger spirit of gratitude when it comes to like money, and I'm just happy, man, that I'm using the wisdom. Really, I'm using the wisdom. I have friends in my corner that I learned from financially, and like price I didn't like it's such a beautiful place to be in, to be quite honest. And the other day I sent my friend, and I was like, I sent them pictures, videos of me in the, I think I'll put these videos here. I went in the fitting rooms trying on stuff, and I was telling them, before I had money, when I had a lot of money to just spend, I would never go in a fitting room. I would just go take my size by, like, I usually used to order stuff like from coordinates and stuff. I never go in the shop for shopping. But now that I don't have the money, I'm always in fitting rooms. And then they were like, no, like, don't worry, this is temporary. And I was laughing, and I'm like, guys, I am not sad. Like, I am actually okay. I'm really okay with knowing that I can go in, try it on, and I cannot afford it, because I do know that it's temporary. I know the story that God has for my life, and it's not this of me not being able to afford a jumpsuit, because I love jumpsuits. But like, I also know that I can get it if I save for it. I'm just being wiser in terms of, do I need it? I don't. I really don't. So I'm not sad about it. I'm really okay. And then the last thing I wanted to tackle, we are already very far into this video, and this was probably going to be the longest part of the video, was about friendships. And oh yeah, family part I wanted to comment was just how I'm more appreciative of my family, especially my sister, because man, this girl, like, when I think of everything that she has done for me when I was a student and all this thing, like, my sister bought a flight ticket for me one day where she has never flown. And I just want to say, one day when I have the money, I am going to pay for a trip for me and her. God help me, please. Because my sister, like, I'm so grateful and more appreciative of my family in this season now than I've ever been. Like, just the support, me even being here. I know, like, it's their prayers and, okay. We are not doing this, okay?